Hey everyone, welcome to Pocket Sized Play. We're a tabletop role-playing game podcast about short, compelling, actual play. My name is Tim.
I am Tor.
Hello, I'm Timothy.
And I'm Sapphire.
Awesome, everyone. Great to have you here for the third session of our Beyond the Wall campaign. Let's just jump right in to catch everyone up. It is nighttime in the village of Norfer. We have Sam, the no-nonsense woodsman and tanner, Ellie, the whimsical witch's apprentice and herbalist, and Jocelyn, the brilliant self-taught mage and innkeeper's daughter. This is a story about village heroes, about small stories, and about the fantastic. So after returning from the Redfur Forest in search for a missing animal, the three prepare to spend a night watching the shop of the retired mercenary called the Jackal. The grizzled shopkeep, the Jackal, he asked Jocelyn to investigate who is purportedly pilfering trinkets from his establishment. Also overnighting in Norfer are some militia from this southern city-state whom our heroes met in the woods earlier, and then later found out that these militia are searching for a particular missing artifact. So we're in the Jackal's wares. It is an extravagant shack, is a good way to describe it. It's nothing fancy, but it's big and full of a lot of stuff. Think a 3-room building where the front is the storeroom. It's where customers would come in. It's where he would set up his wares in the morning. There's the middle room where he sleeps, and his snoring right now. You see the dust basically jumping off the floorboards as it rumbles with his deep, resounding snore. He's asleep in that middle room. And then there's the back room where there are wooden crates and barrels and chests, some of them even locked. This back room where the valuables are kept, and where I'm thinking we find Sam and Ellie and Jocelyn.
So I'm sitting on the floor with my axe head in my lap. Got the engravings on it, and I'm wielding my knife, cutting out a new handle for it, spilling some nice wood carvings on the Jackal's floor. Mm-hmm. Being pretty quiet.
Well, I've brought in a basket of birch twigs, so some shiny birch twigs, and I'm, again, just like to have something to do with my hands when I'm sitting around, so I'm just kind of pulling them together and making the Jackal a broom as a gift.
Oh.
And I've also got a little jar of some shiny birch sap to give to Joss, hopefully to make some wine out of.
Honestly, I don't think that there's any intruders at all. My opinion is he's just probably imagining things. But, you know, we'll check it out. I've got this ritual that I can cast. And also going through his cabinets and finding maybe the best brandy from, you know, some faraway land that, you know, he's kind of keeps back. We're gonna drink well.
I look up at Sam and I'm like, how do you feel about Lady Sean taking your kill? Like, she kind of showed you, and then I kind of took her on, and then you kind of like stopped me and like helped her out. Like, what's with that? Like, she's pretty strong, hey?
Oh, now I'm a bit worried about her. Coming in here, throwing around her golden spears and everything. I don't know what she's going to do to the town.
Sweet, so we've had that conversation. Let's see how that ritual turned out, by the way. So that hour has passed, and Jocelyn has readied everything for the ritual, the Witch's Watchman. So that'll be a ability score check for intelligence. And you can roll that, Timothy, whenever you're ready.
Yeah, I rolled a 3.
Nice.
Great.
So tell me, I'm kind of curious. There are the physical elements that you did. There's sand. There's a bell. Cool. But I bet that when you see that, you see more than just a circle of sand and a bell.
I think what the ritual does is it actually kind of ties the air together. You wouldn't really even be able to see it, right? And you don't feel it. You know, the magic that's sort of in the air and all around sort of binds sort of in a mesh sort of way. And the incantation sort of triggers if that mesh is broken now by anything going in and out of it, right? So
nice. And Jaws, you found some brandy. Is this where we start doing constitution rolls to see who can make it through the night after drinking? What happens? I mean, okay, so you're finally done with the concentration. Like, you've had to, you know that a misstep during casting a ritual can, like, kill someone. I mean, that could be huge. So, I mean, like, you had it together, and then finally, and you see, like, dusty brandy in a crate on the other side of the room.
Yes! All right, guys, here it is. And so I take it off and I say, Sam, I have got something to tell you. And I kind of uncork this thing and blow the dust out of some ornamental goblets that the jackal has and start pouring up. Sam, you remember that statue or that bit of a statue that you found in the past that you showed to me?
Yeah, the one with the strange carvings on it.
Right. You know those fuckers that we met in the woods?
Lady scene.
Well, you know where they're staying, right?
Mm.
You know, they're staying over at my parents' place. And so the crazy thing that happened, at dinner was they started talking about the reason why they were in town, and they're just going around all these villages. They're just throwing coin around, and they're looking for these missing artifacts from the ruins. I don't trust those guys to begin with. Your secret's safe with me. But I think you might have something there on your hands that's valuable. I love that you have it.
Well, I don't know if I'm very happy about having it now.
I don't think you should tell anyone.
That thing sounds a bit dangerous to me. These guys are coming in here, they're making a big ruckus, and if they keep looking around, I don't know what kind of trouble they're going to bring with them. I say we just could get rid of it now. I have to pay for it.
You want to sell
I don't
it
want anything to do with it. Well, isn't that what they're asking for? They want to buy it?
Yeah, so maybe I should give you the other half of the story too. I mean, so the reason why they want it is they intend to go into those ruins that we know about out there in the woods, and I think they want to restore them and sort of make that a place where they want to, try to tame the wilds again, right? So I don't know. To me, I'm not excited about hearing all of that. And I wouldn't put it past those guys to just in the morning start, sort of just ask if they could poke around the village.
I think you're right. I think these people can't be trusted to tame the wild. What a silly notion. They can't tame the wild. It's not a thing to be tamed. What is it with these salty people? Sam, I agree with Joss. Joss is smart and she knows politics and stuff.
Well,
listen.
I do see that side of the point, yeah. Jocelyn, I don't understand things the way you do, but if they want to do something big with this piece of rock, maybe we should find out before we throw it in there.
Find out how.
I've been to the ruins before.
These guys caught a pixie and put it in a jar just to try to find their way to this village, right? I mean,
I know. Number one, get it out of my place. That's my first plan. Find somewhere else to hide it.
I could take it to the treehouse or bury it. But I think, maybe tomorrow Joss and I can have a better look at it.
Yeah, it's probably more your area of expertise.
Yeah. I'd like to have a closer look at it.
Here's what I think.
Oh gosh, she's really drunk now. Go on.
Those guys in that kingdom is looking for it. They must know that it does something. They know that it's gonna do something in those ruins, right? Or they wouldn't be looking for it. That's all I want to say.
I'm like, Josh, babe, I think you're right, but we're supposed to be on watch right now. Maybe you should lay off the cups.
Sam, have you been having brandy wine while you're...
I had the cup that was handed to me, but it took a bit of time for me to get through it.
So to set the scene, I think probably some time has passed, maybe a couple hours. Outside is a brilliant yellow full moon high up in the sky. And it's not a quiet night. So outside you hear the cicadas, you hear all sorts of noises from the red fir forest for a change. Animal noises, it's a loud night. Full moons are always a bit auspicious. So a bit of time has passed. There's that silent moment. And you know how when you've been drinking for a while and you do that thing that suddenly makes you realize how much you've had? Like maybe you're standing up or something like that. And you're like, oh, wow. Oh, no, I'm fine. No, I'm not fine. So let's do that roll as a constitution ability check. All right. Sam is good. Jaws is good. Ooh, but Ellie. Why am I not surprised that?
I'm tiny, okay, and I smoked too much before I even got here.
So
I may have brought the most potent of my moonweed that I kind of harvested just before the plant flowered, so the leaves were even more potent than usual on the last full moon, and I've been drying it, and it's for a very special occasion, and it's a little bit stronger than my usual stuff. I've actually crawled into Sam's lap and curled up in a little circle, a little ball on Sam's lap, and I'm just kind of like, meow, meow. I had too much. Oh no. Oh no. Oh, why do I do this to myself? Everything's green.
Yeah, I'm not comforting that much. I'm pretty much just sitting there, relaxing myself. No sympathy.
And Jocelyn, what's going through your head? Is you're sort of a little bit on the outside, but part of the group there still?
Sometimes I think this happens, when you have a group of close friends and just drink for a while and they have a lot of fun, there's a lot of talk, and then after a while it just gets really quiet and people get introspective. I think that's kind of where we are. And I've got this book with me, that the wizard from the south, when he had visited, he was someone who instantly recognized my, magic abilities. I didn't even tell him. He just kind of even called me out on it. As a result of that, he left me this book, which I could barely even read. I don't need, and I think that's even kind of part of the test. He was thinking, you taught yourself how to do all of this. Well, let's see, what can you figure out all of this? And so I think at times like this is when I kind of open up the book and I start just sort of, trying to figure things out that's in it. And I'm probably too where I've had enough to drink to where I can't really concentrate too much on it either. So, I mean, it's like I'm not able to make any progress on it. So maybe it is just sort of flipping through and looking at the pictures and
both sitting up against the wall or something so we can both see the book.
So yeah, Josh, so I mean, you're absorbed in the book and showing the book and looking at the book. And maybe I really like the visual of seeing Ellie see this and seeing maybe your eyes widen or something. So starting with that. So Ellie, at the edge of the wall between a couple stacks of crates, you see some glowing shapes pass through the wall and materialize just along the edge. They're about the size of a frog and look a bit like a frog, except also a tree stump, and have big, big black beady eyes and little bits of leaves poking up along them. And they sound like they're muttering to themselves. And you just get to see that visual because we're about to hear a really loud, shrill, incredibly loud noise go off as they have broken through the barrier. But you see that first, And I think as soon as you see that, then Sam, you take that in too. As that noise starts going off and Jaws doesn't know quite yet what triggered it, what are you all doing?
I jump up with unexpected speed and grab that broom and go, huck!
Awesome. What about you, Sam?
There's not much I can do. I don't understand this spirit stuff, so I'm just shaking at Jocelyn. Oh, look, it's there.
Awesome. Yeah, like maybe it looks a little bit like the one that was in the jar that Jaws broke out earlier. Not the same one, obviously, but it, conceptually, it's this little ephemeral thing, and it's so different than you or I. Like, we can't even comprehend that. Jocelyn, you don't pick that up. That's probably behind you. But you, along with everyone else in the village, hear a shrill, wailing voice just of the alarm going off. That bell in the center hovers up in the air a bit and then just explodes into little fragments. You don't know what the source of it is, but you can just turn around. Jocelyn, what are you doing?
Because I didn't really... the idea here was that the jackal was just like seeing things or, imagining things, right? And my plan here really didn't include the fact that the whole village is going to be awakened by this, right? Because I really didn't think it was going to happen. So now I'm just like, oh, how do I turn this alarm off, right?
Yeah, so you're looking for the switch, the button to turn it off, fumbling.
Right.
And so I imagine, it really only goes off for a few seconds and then it's fading. You hear, again, all those creature noises from the forest, even louder than before in the background. You hear the snoring of the jackal continue as nothing in the world will wake up that man. But surely others in the village are at this point. And so what you all see having materialized, just along that edge of the wall, are those three kind of stumpy, frog-like looking things, big beady eyes, and they're looking at you all, kind of looking around, looking at you, looking around, and they're just singing softly to themselves. It's Kodomo Kodomo, just in their little nonsense language to each other. Who knows what it means? And they're not acting, violently or anything. They haven't done anything yet. They're just looking around, looking kind of near one of the crates nearby. You would spy like a couple shiny things in there, like a lens or a small pair of sewing scissors. Yeah, what do you all do?
I'm standing there pointing the broom at them, a little bit in shock and a bit wobbly. And I'm like, oh, you sound so sweet. Oh, I like the singing. And I'm like, take a deep breath. And I'm like, stop. What are you doing here? I feel like I'm using the words, but it's really, the words are just another channel for me to be able to kind of attune myself and my will to kind of communicate with them on a spirit level. So even though it sounds like I'm trying to humanly connect to the others, it's just one way that I'm actually able to, especially now that I'm a little bit intoxicated, I feel that I need to use the spoken word to be able to focus and channel that will onto them, because a good witch doesn't need to use spoken word. They can just think and it happens, but I'm not there yet.
I don't know how to communicate this. Maybe this is just words that you understand as words, but they're not coherent sentences. So you can't quite make sense, but you pick up feelings at least that they're communicating. And so some of those that materialize in the back of your mind as you're concentrating on them is shiny, find shiny, the boundary, weak, cross for shiny, away from the south, into the village, shiny.
I jump up and down with excitement. It's like, oh, I clap my hands. I like shiny things too. Jocelyn. I look at Jocelyn. I'm like, Jocelyn, they like shiny things. I think they've come from the south. Didn't you say something about the south before?
I'm kind of getting up and crouching by the wall. I'm not trying to get any closer, but I'm ready to move. A bit anxious about this situation. I'm not quite sure what's going on.
So they're singing, to themselves still. Kodomo. Please, everyone, I guess, roll a saving throw versus spell. So, Sam and Ellie, these creatures that are here, they're your friends. They're your friends. I mean, you know them. You've known them forever, and they're wonderful. Don't do anything to hurt your friends. Jocelyn, you resisted the spell, False Friends, so you're not having any of that shit.
I'm relaxing and sitting back down again and starting to fiddle with my axe, making the finishing touches to it. Just calming down, not saying anything.
I'm dancing. I'm just dancing around in circles.
I, on the other hand, am, I want to try to get rid of these guys.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not necessarily paying attention to you, Jocelyn. I mean, one of them has now climbed up into a crate and it fell in and its head looks back up and it found that lens, that big glass lens, and is pulling that out. I bet they're going to be drawn to that crystal that Ellie has shortly. One of them has kind of noticed the crystal in her hair and is kind of, walking over to that. So they're doing that. So Jocelyn, how would you react? How would you get rid of them?
But I want to cast a spell of my own.
If you create magic, I mean, that's kind of speaking their language.
So I have a spell called Terrifying Presence.
Yes. I love that the spell really speaks for itself. Like no one would guess incorrectly of what you would intend to do at this point. It's like, yeah.
So I'm going to turn my baleful will toward them to make them run, hide, or cower.
Have we seen this before?
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think you guys have done this. So I move and speak with terrible authority. Maybe there's this kaleidoscope of color that just like someone was shining a light show on me, right? Spins through all of these different, colors of the rainbow. And I think my voice gets very loud.
So let's just really quickly. So there's three of them. There's the one that was in the crate grabbing the lens. There's the one that is going over to Ellie, drawn by her crystal. And then there's one in the center of the room by the bell. So roll that intelligence. I get to roll saving throw finally. So take that.
Yeah, and I would probably say that the one coming at Ellie, is the one that I'm probably also most, concerned with.
Yeah, go for it.
So it's a 12.
Hey, well, that one is not in the least bit terrified by you. You were successfully terrifying at it, and it looks at you, blinks its eyes, and then jumps up and grabs that crystal from Ellie's hair. Ellie, you notice that. Your friend is borrowing that crystal? I don't know. What do you do?
So my crystal is a light pink quartz with a golden symbol of the sun, with a new moon and kind of a balsamic moon back to back in the middle. For me, I believe that it contains an ancient spirit. And for me, it brings luck and protection. And I reach out to take it back off them.
And sweet. So you're grabbing it from it. While you've done that, that other nymph, took that lens and disappeared out the wall. I mean, that's kind of what it does. So you're kind of grappling with that. And the other nymph, I think, is going into that same crate to take more.
Well, if I see that she's struggling trying to get this thing back, and I'm thinking, oh no, my friends are fighting over this crystal, but they can't have Ellie's precious thing. So I pull out one of my lures from my fishing kit. Just got a little pouch. So one of those, it's just a piece of metal, just with facets on it, so it sparkles in different colors in the light. And I want to do a trade with it, see if I can distract it, and then when it looks at the lure, which is also shiny, I can grab the crystal and put the lure in its hands. So I'm just dangling this lure in front of it. No, This is Ellie's crystal. You don't understand. You can have this one instead.
Kodomo.
Bad friend.
Kodomo. And it grabs the crystal and it grabs the lure and it disappears through the wall.
Okay, I'm gonna go after it.
So Jaws, you make for the door, you open up the door, and standing on the other side is Ku. Claws out. Ku had been clawing at the window frame and looks jittery, is kind of jumping up and down, bouncing a bit, feathers ruffled, fanning out. So yeah, so you want to look and see the direction that the spirit's going. So let's do
Yeah, I'm trying.
yeah.
To
So
find
we'll do another wisdom skill check. It's I'm dark out, so -2 penalty. Sorry, I keep getting penalties left and right, but I think this makes sense at night. So
Yeah, if I can't see him in the dark, I'm gonna make some light. Roll a 7.
yeah, it's heading north from here, so it's heading away from the forest, away from the farmland. It's going in the direction of your inn, and also kind of in the center of town. There's that pile of stones that is has some spiritual significance. I don't know if we've worked out quite yet, but it's going north in that direction. You see it carrying shiny things, and it's moving quickly. It's not running from you. It's just moving around. It's like a little excited animal.
Is it something that I could catch on foot? Or am I going to need to go faster than that?
You can probably outrun it, but can also pass through walls, which could present an issue. Beautiful. And so Sam and Ellie, you're inside. There's still one of these weird little spirit frog stump things on the inside. It's gone into that same crate, and it's grabbing a little pair of scissors. Ku is anxious at the door. There are animal noises coming from everywhere at this point. Like, the forest is loud tonight, and Ku is clearly spooked. What are you two doing? You've kind of... Your friend is still inside, but, you know.
I don't really care about those scissors. I'm running up to Ku, trying to calm the animal down and figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm running out after Jocelyn.
So Sam, so figuring out what's wrong. So there's calming Ku. Are you trying to kind of read like what's disturbing animals in general? Like, are you kind of like tapping into kind of those like survival skills, or are you thinking of like the old stories that you know about this type of thing? Like what are we working with here?
The first thing I do is run up to Ku. Do they have any harness or something like that?
Yeah, let's have the harness on it.
Something
Yeah.
tied up to it? Yeah. I just kind of grabbed the harness. I don't know why it was scratching on the door while I was trying to get in.
Yeah.
Just stroking it a bit while I'm looking around and listening and just trying to think about what's going on.
Yeah, have it calm, have it under your control. So Ku likes you. Ku doesn't want to run away from you, but you want Ku to be calm and kind of understand what it's doing. So let's do a charisma roll for that. Just a flat charisma.
That's a
Cool.
6.
Nice. So Ku calms down. You see those yellow eyes with those long elliptical pupils in them kind of blink slowly at you. And it closes its eyes for just a little bit. It's a way of showing kind of calmness around you. And it positions itself so it's not facing the forest. Like you sense a little bit of fear from that direction from the south. And so it's standing by you, kind of looking at you, looking toward the north end of town a bit. And it's calm. Jocelyn and Ellie have run off. So Sam, what do you intend to do from here?
I see these guys run off. And at this point, is the noise coming from the forest noticeable? Is it not just out of the ordinary? It's concerning.
It's loud. There's a lot of animals making noises. And it's been enough time. You see a deer or two streak out from the farmland, and it's running straight through the middle of town. Like, it's as if there's no boundary at all between the village and the forest right now.
Because that's what I'm worrying about now, what's happening to the barrier. I'm probably going to ride to my father immediately and figure out what's going on. Just ride back home, leave Ellie and Jocelyn to chase the thieves. I mean, my awkward friends. Because my father, he was Jack. He's more of a minder of the barrier. He does not necessarily have any deep knowledge about how it works, but he does all the work to maintain it, and he tells stories, and he has this ceremony to clear the barrier. Yeah. He's the only one I know to ask about it. There might have been more information that is lost, more of the magic that actually keeps it.
Right. Yeah, he's the person to go to for that. Cool. All right. Get on Ku, get on the riding lizard, and head on south toward your family's homestead. And meanwhile, so Ellie, running doesn't feel good right now. Like it's your stomach is kind of like keeping it down, picking up the pace. The cold night air is probably pretty refreshing right now. It's probably what you need. You see Jocelyn ahead of you. You see this little kind of glowing creature holding your crystal, holding a shiny lure. And right now it's heading toward the front door of the inn, just because it's beelining in that direction. But it ran through inside, and you hear voices from inside. People obviously were awakened by that shrill banshee noise earlier. So there's already kind of a clutter that you can hear going on inside.
Yeah, I'm opening up the door. I gotta go in. I gotta go find this thing.
Cool. Yeah, no, you walk in, and there's the big serving table where you had that meal just last night where you were serving Lady Scene and the other guests and your parents, and you overheard all that information. Everything is dark in this room, except you see a figure holding a lamp. You can smell the animal fat burning from that. And it's those two attendants who were with Lady Scene earlier. They both have weapons drawn, and they're looking around, like they're waiting for something to happen, as if they were alarmed by some loud noise or something like that, and are checking that perimeter. So you see them stand there, and I think if you don't blink too quickly, you can see that little glowing creature pass right between them. They don't even see it, and through into the kitchen. And you all can see that. What are you doing?
I think I'm running past them towards the kitchen and saying, quick, it ran into the kitchen. I'm not even telling them what it is.
Cool.
I want to run around the back of the inn in case it comes out the back door or out the other side of the building.
So you're going, alright, so Ellie's going the other way. Jocelyn's going straight through the middle. God, this has to happen. So right as you're running to the kitchen, Jocelyn, that's when you see Lady Scene come out from upstairs. So she's rounding that stairway, and you probably kind of run a little bit into her, like that stairway ends right at the door to the kitchen. And she looks at you, just eyes blazing a bit. She's, "What are you doing?" And she has her weapon, and she's on alert, and she was just attacked in the dark by this child running by, and she's startled, and she takes a step back.
I don't even stop to talk to her.
She's like sputtering. She's like, what? And let's just roll a dexterity to get it in the kitchen. Otherwise, Ellie's going to be on the other end.
Okay, this time I roll an 8, so.
It's right in front of your foot. The back door out the back of the inn is right in front of you. There's pots clattering that you're hitting as you run by. What are you doing with the spirit?
So yeah, I'm just gonna try to grab the crystal.
So Ellie, on your end, you see, you hear the noise of like clattering, like clunk, 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 ching, ching, and then there's a pause, and from the back door, looking at that, you see that little frog-sized, stumpy spirit creature comes soaring through the back door, like materializing through it, but just holding the lure and not your crystal. And it's running between your feet, and it kind of looks up at you for a second, but it doesn't have your crystal anymore.
And then I run into the kitchen, and in front of me, I guess I see Jocelyn holding my crystal, and I just launch at her and kind of give her the biggest cuddle.
Yeah.
I'm like, Jocelyn, you're the best! Oh, you did it! And I'm just all entwined all over her. I don't know if I've knocked her on the floor or not.
Yeah. No, I like knocking on the floor. I think that's good and dramatic. So Sam, you're streaking through the farmland at this point, and you have to pass through some of the farmland to get to that large wooden cabin where your family lives, where your father is.
I'm really scared.
Yeah.
Because to me, this barrier is symbolizing safety. Every time I pass the barrier, it reminds me that we are living here on the border next to this wild nature with so many things that could harm us, so many scary and awesome and fantastical things. And seeing all these animals pass through and worrying about maybe it's the end of the barrier, maybe something has changed. And I don't even know if we have the knowledge to deal with it. But at the same time, I'm also feeling very hopeful that my father, who's been told all the stories, he's been doing this for a long time, he will set things right.
Yeah.
It's trying to get to him as quickly as possible to notify him and also ask for any information about what's going on.
So you're dashing along with Koo. Koo's got your back. You and Koo are on the same page. And you get to the front door of that wooden cabin that just a large, austere, very sturdy structure built by a true craftsman. Animals have been coming through the woods this whole time, and this is when you see it. This is when you see the antlers emerging from above a tree, and they shake, and a couple trees topple down around it. Far to the south, it's just an outline, but fortunately the moon is bright enough that you catch a glimpse. One of the things we talked about is sometimes the plants or the animals are just a scale that we're not really used to. This is a moose. You see that long, kind of bulky face and those huge antlers with moss and vines and decaying matter still clinging onto them. But it stands taller than a red fir. And at this point, it roars in pain or fear or I don't know what, but it's at the edge of that forest and it is just trampling out toward the farmland, toward the village. So you see it probably about, I don't know, a 2-minute ride from where you are right now, and it's coming toward the village. You can probably see the outline of some people inside through the lamplit window. You see that creature, and I think you would hear a farmer scream at this point. I mean, people were awakened by the sound earlier, and someone would see that beast of a thing. So there's maybe even it's RC that we hear just coming from the farmland, and little lamp lights are kind of dotting the field here and there. And what are you doing?
I'm shouting as loud as I can as I'm riding towards the house. Dad! Jack!
Nice.
Come out! And I guess I see their faces come out because obviously they've been alerted by all these animals.
Yeah.
And I don't know if there's much time for us to talk about this, but if I know any immediate steps to check the boundary, or I just want to notify him and just get eye contact, just get this information across and then go right into work to find out what to do with the barrier.
Awesome. So the door is thrown open and we see this tall, burly figure, looks a bit like you, plus 20 years, wearing his night clothes still. So the shirt is hastily buttoned, kind of imagining a broad, hairy chest and thick arms. He's holding that roughly hewn axe where the light is glinting off of the little dings and scrapes and cracks in it. It's an axe that's not meant for show. He stands there, looks at you, sees that moose in the distance, and his eyes narrow, and he says, "Get inside. Something's spooking them."
It's a very sweet session.
Yeah.
It has some fun banter and fun atmosphere and weird, mystical situation. It's fun.
I feel like, yeah, we had a little bit more of a conversation or play that time too. It was good to have dialogue between, I guess, the other characters in the Jackal's house.
Yeah. Yeah, that was really nice. Awesome. And any closing thoughts from you, Timothy?
No, I like the way that it ended there with Ellie and and Joss. And I like to think, I think the scene cut away and just sort of left it to the imagination of the listener or the viewer as to what happened.
When there's the moment where Jack the woodsman steps out and there's the roar from that moose, I'm sure we cut back to inside the inn kitchen and, you two hear that from far away, that bestial animal sound, and you're just like, your nose are practically pressed up against each other, both of your eyes widen in surprise. It's this very intimate space where you hear that threatening thing from far away. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for playing Beyond the Wall. This is Pocket Sized Play. You can talk to us on Twitter at Pocket Sized Play, or you can check out the Gauntlet gaming community at gauntlet-rpg.com. Bye, everybody.